chat about in between. All right, so let's kind of go over what we're looking at here because you guys are going to get this full recording back. It's already started the recording, so you guys can obviously see me in that picture, right? So I'm orange, red, and yellow. So everything around me should be somewhat blue or black because those are colder than my skin tone. My skin tone and the rest of yours is going to be the warmest thing out here. Our temperature tonight is about 62 to 63 degrees, and we'll drop to 60 by the time we're done. So again, our skin is going to be obviously in the 90s. We want to keep the skin tone in there because watch what happens when you take me out. So I'm going to step to the side. The orange, red, and yellow goes somewhere else. When you put me in the picture, we get more of a color array, so that way we can actually see those blue or black spots moving on their own. So that's really what we want. We want something intelligent to start moving on its own, obviously because cold spots is what we're looking for. So Solomon, this is going to be all you, my man. You're going to be my cameraman.
Yeah.
It's already recording, so the red square you see, if it turns to a circle, just let me know. That just means I have to splice some video together for you guys. But try to keep it horizontal the way you have it right now, all night. And obviously the camera attachment is on your left-hand side.
Okay.
So that way you kind of know where that's at. All right, so I'm going to get you going, just because I feel like you're almost the owner at this point. We got to get you making some friends. So, did you travel alone?
Yeah, I did. You did. Let's make some friends.
Gotcha. Alright. Spirit boxes. We're going to use several spirit boxes tonight. So this one, is anybody unfamiliar with spirit boxes? Alright, perfect. Alright, so we're going to use several different types. This one is going to sweep through all of the FM radio stations at a very quick rate. On your TV shows, it's that annoying white noise, and then Zach Bagans tells you what he thinks he heard out of it. But mine is slowed down on purpose. You guys aren't used to listening to this, so I want the radio chatter to come through. So I want the DJs, the song lyrics, and the commercials. So whatever you can make out of it, awesome. Let us know. Some people have a hard time listening to this. They just can't hear anything out of it because it moves too fast. Their brain just doesn't work that way, and that's okay. The cool thing is it's going to record things for us. It's going to record the entire radio sweep. It's not going to record any of us. It's only going to record the radio sweeps even when it's on mute. So even when I say let's go ahead and cut that spirit box down because it might be too noisy for me to tell the story, then it's still going to record at a nice even level for your recording tomorrow morning. I do go through this in our hotspots tomorrow morning to kind of give you some markers on top of whatever she finds. So obviously we'll have that on a regular audio because I'm going to constantly ask what have we heard on the spirit box. Of course you're probably going to get excited when you get the answers. So let me get it going and start the recording. Kind of turn it up just so you guys can see how it works. So I love this. This is probably my favorite device because when I'm investigating some of the museums and things that I told you guys about earlier, I throw it on mute and just toss it in my bag or my pocket and I listen to it later. So I'm not hearing anything come out of it now, obviously just a lot of white noise. Or go far maybe, but again, it's a 50-50 shot that I can relate it to the location. One button right now, it's right next to the big button on top. It's repeated. So you just want to control it. So, let's see what else. Let's continue on with spirit boxes, just so that we can, because we're on that wavelength. Yeah, you want one of these, don't you?
No, I'm cold.
You're
Put
cold?
your jacket
You got a
on.
jacket.
Put your jacket on.
It's way warmer than it was last night, that's for sure.
I've never noticed. I've always thought this was cool.
Whose hand is that?
So, this particular spirit box
Look at how
is going to give us
random
a
that
word in the
is.
center of the screen from time to
See?
time, and then it's going to save them to a list.
That's temperature gauge.
Here's what I'm going to tell you about this spirit box. 80%
warmer
of
than
what
that.
comes out of this isn't going to mean anything. It's meant to be a game. However, the other 5 to 20% is going to be such specific details for a location, a person talking about, or something even going on with one of us. It happens all the time. That I will obviously give you a link to show you where I got my information, and I will put it in bold. You will get the entire list, even though 80% of it or more will probably not mean anything. So I'm going to clear out because that's last night's group. They already have their word list, and we're going to start ourselves off fresh. This is going to go to you, Miss Chilly young lady. So all you got to do is read the words off to us. And at times, I might say, I'm sorry, I lost your name already.
Ava.
Ava. So I'll say, Ava, words on our list, and I'll show you how to get to that list. She's got this. Let's see. Anything, you know what? I want to go to next.
Mimi, you want something? Sure.
You're going to be super important.
Yay!
you're going to be able to tell us the first thing that's actually happening when we hit one of our areas. This is an EMF meter. Okay, so the EMF meter detects 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. The first one's natural, comes from the Earth. That's why it's not doing anything. The second one is going to be from electronic devices. Okay, you all have electronic devices, but it will literally have to be touching it in order for it to go off. Okay, so with that being said, it's going to usually give it a rhythm or a pulse. If we see a rhythm or a pulse, we're going to watch it for a few seconds. Obviously, it's from something man-made. Your TV shows use this one because it is so sensitive. So the third one is when it's going to just go erratic. If we can't make out a pattern, it usually means something else is going to go off, or we might get a picture on a thermal imaging camera. That's where I start to really pay attention to what's actually happening and what's going on. So it doesn't make any noise and it doesn't vibrate, so you have to be kind of a watcher. You got it. Figured, trying to, because I know Dad might be pushing stroller. You guys can, inter-swap, however you guys feel fit. And again, I'm horrible with names. I can't remember my own character. Bella.
Yeah.
You are going to be getting my new device. You are also super important because
I'm not the special one who
this is multifunctional.
I like this.
You're multifunctional. Your device is going to do a lot of different things. This is called a millimeter. So a millimeter is going to do, first thing it's going to measure is the bottom number. That means that's a temperature around the little yellow probe at the top. So in case Dad finds something, we're going to be able to detect, debunk, or prove that Dad actually caught something paranormal, which is very important. The top one is the same device that Mom has. So that's an EMF in number format only. So her first green light is at 0.4. So anything above 0.4 on yours, I get excited. So that's when we really want to start gauging it. Last but not least, it's also a motion detector. It's called a REM pod. So a REM pod, get this guy started. So in the event it has an EMF field around the antenna. So if something breaks that EMF field, it's going to go off. The closer it gets, the higher the lights are going to go. So we don't always use this in some areas, only because it can be very annoying on the audio. And it can also disturb some ponies that we're going to be going nearby. So when we're not using it, definitely have your antenna down, and then I'll show you how to shut it off in the back once we have.
Oh, what does that one do again?
Which, the antenna?
Yeah.
So yeah, this actually has 3 different devices, but the antenna is almost like a motion detector.
Okay.
So if something gets too close to this device, it will sound off.
Gotcha.
So there's a little clip on the back right here. Just kind of leave it loose. You don't have to click it in place, but that one's going to go to you. Trust me, I'm going to be working with all of you individually to kind of show you more tactics about your devices. So I think I have, so you guys are going to get the full recording back on the thermal, my audio, that full list, the Spirit Box recording. Obviously yours doesn't record anything. You're just kind of my, let's see what's going on. What question do you have? And we're going to go through some of those words to see if they're relatable to the story. Sometimes you don't have the extra info.
I just understood because it said soul, and then it said Anthony, and then it said much. So I was confused.
Well, those are all very vague. So nothing very specific to the location of where we are. So of course, we start here for a reason. So, why did I get...
What do you think my personality is?
I haven't decided yet. Let me tell you what's going on here. We're gonna get on with that. So this place used to be called Big John's Tavern. So Big John was a football player for the 1947 Giants. I know I told you I wasn't a sports guy, but I read a lot of data. So, but anyway, Big John used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel, if they were of age or not to drink. So one night, 2 guys come in, they're not of age. Big John tells the bartender, get them out of here. So they leave, pretty mad. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees this, they get into a big bar fight. It's John versus these 2 cadets. A couple of shots go off, and John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. So Big John gets up, he goes back to the bar, and he tells the bartender to get him another beer, and they get the 2 guys on the floor in an ambulance. Now, first off, Big John was the one that got shot. Second, nobody died in that story. So what do you think is haunting the place?
The bullet.
The bullet. Nice.
Oh, wait, really?
Good job. So the bullet hole is allegedly still here with John's blood. So it's obviously attached to the building at this point. So people that sit in the front of the bar are going to get a little queasy, headaches, nauseous, those kind of things. I bring this up on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect any of you. I haven't had any instances in probably a year, which is good. But in case you guys feel any of those symptoms, I kind of need to know immediately. It's a big deal. So I don't say that to scare you. It's a health hazard. It really is. So let's not talk about our own health, right? Let's let's talk about something a little happier. We had an earthquake. So in 1886, the mantle that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building. And apparently from the earthquake, a piece of that broke off, hit somebody in the head, and killed him. Say allegedly on that story because I don't have any proof. So again, I'm always going to be honest with you guys. It's just a great story to get your minds off your own health. So, you guys ready to go something? All right, we're going to lead the way. Yes.
Mine just went to sleep. Just close. You just went to sleep. I think it was Kevin with your hand. No. No,
Y'all ready?
you know what I noticed? Look at this screen. What's going on?
Come on.
Something now. It's a.
Okay, this thing is at like 1 point something.
I think it's because it was near
It's
there.
from the building.
Okay, yeah, it like shot up to 1 point something and then it went back down.
It's going to be from the building. Also, when we're near parking meters, our electrical lines for that are underneath the sidewalks. So, I'll usually say ignore certain key nuts just because of the area. But good catch. Ghost stories. Because people die all the time. So those are everywhere. So, welcome to what I call the Big Red Barn lot. Okay? This is obviously a big red barn. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. So sometimes it starts here, sometimes it waits till we leave. I'll explain in a second. The only history I have here is that this is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So those of you with spirit boxes, I will always emphasize keywords to listen for or make clues out of when you're going through your asking question sessions. So, with that said,
Focused on a person, he said.
there are horses inside that barn. So you have the only noisemaker, and you have a little bit of a loud beeping sound. So if you're going to be, just kind of watch your volume when you're up near that end of the, because they can hear us and we don't want to spook the horses. So with that said, let's talk about your spirit boxes. Yes, we're going to be asking questions out loud with these spirit boxes. And again, the teacher will sometimes back away and say, go ahead, because it's a little weird to have the teacher hanging over your shoulder. So we can all agree that the barn is red, right? So this isn't yes or no questions, because if you ask if somebody's here, like on TV and the YouTube videos, and they say no, first off, that means somebody's here because they answered you. And if you hear a real estate commercial on yours and they say the word houses, S and O too commonly sounds that we just don't want to mess with. So yes and no questions are out the door. Always try to find a way to reword the question. So, what color is the barn? If somebody's here, tell me what color the barn is. You're going to listen for the color red, or something that's specifically red. Fire truck, heart, blood, anything that relates to the color red specifically. It happens all the time. We could also get teammates from Big John. If somebody's here that played with Big John, give me your jersey number. If we get two things that match up, for example, if her spirit box says the number 44 and you get, come to my art class, Art Faircloth played with Big John, his number was 44. See how I have two clues? It's always a definitive thing. So I'm always listening for those kind of things that come up, and yours is slowed down, so I'm going to get those extra words. In the event you don't get an answer out of what color is the barn, maybe open it up, like the Big John question, or if you want to go to what's inside the barn. Now you know you have horses in there, they're draft horses. They deliver milk and eggs to Charleston, so calcium and protein have shown up here before too. Stable, hay, anything relating to horses. So with that said, always think of things that I can prove. Don't ask about feelings, and we're going to ask a lot of things about ages, and as we move along through different places, I'm not going to give you all the answers. But something here, we want to start you off with something you already know the answers to. Now, if you do get a number, I'll quickly look up what that number might mean and see what I can find out. I'm not the Google for everything. Yes, ma'am.
It's fine. Just leave those words alone.
You can look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to kind of go through the list here in a second. So I do want to work with Dad on that thermal imaging camera for a few minutes. So, Mom, if you want to help out with those spirit boxes, and you can probably use your rep potting here, but always compare what your EMF says to hers, because they're measuring two different styles. So she's obviously getting something. Are you getting anything on yours?
Not
It
anything
went to
above
like point
like 0.3. But that was it.
But yeah, we're going to stay within this slide. We're only going to spend like 5 minutes here. It's just so you guys get used to your devices because there's not a whole lot of history. I want to get you guys some real Charleston history. So definitely start listening to your spirit box and start asking those questions. You can ask them mentally if you want, out loud if you want. But I'm going to catch up to you in a few minutes and maybe help you out. But I definitely want to work with the thermal imaging camera, show them a few tricks because there's a lot of things that go on with that camera. Yeah, we're going to stay within the confines of the lot. So if you guys want to start exploring, Dad, let me show you a few things on that camera. So, yeah, go ahead and pull your RIM pod. Oh, I didn't show you how to use that. Look.
Yeah, but mine's
Exactly. It's technically 2 different types. This is still a relatively new device for me, so I'm still trying to figure out if it's measuring all 3 or if it's only measuring things that are paranormal. At this point, with this thing going off the way that it is, I still don't see a pattern. So again, I can't guess where it's coming from yet because I'm still learning about that device. Yeah. So we talked about keeping a person in view at all times. So the reason why, for example, it's got too many things in it. Shoot it at this wood panel right here for me, and watch it bleed out. It should all bleed out to one red color. Keep it there. Watch what happens when I get in the picture.
Right.
We want to get that array of color. At our next location, I'm going to show you a little bit more of an evidence, maybe some things to actually look for, so that way you know exactly what you're looking for on that thing. With this particular lot, you have a lot of different types of material. You have wood, asphalt, metal, foliage. I want you to just kind of pan and kind of view what's going on around you.
Okay.
I know with the stroller, it might be, I don't want you traveling a whole lot. You know, just get used to what it is. And again, if you don't see anything on it tonight, it's fine. I'm going to review it briefly tomorrow for about 30 minutes to kind of see where our hotspots were and see if anything weird occurred. And that does correlate with a lot of the other devices. So if something happens there, a spirit box will quit or give us something very relevant to the location. So it's almost like it glitches on purpose,
Okay.
but it also calibrates from time to time. You'll see it stop, recalibrate, colors will change.
It's saying things.
All right, cool. So let me show you how to check the list on that thing. I'm gonna mask up because I have to get close to all you guys. So if you want to check the whole list, you see the little calendar next to the word? Just tap that. Don't hit the red X's and don't hit clear. So if you don't do that, you'll be fine. And this way you can see all the words. I'll say, hey, Ava, what words do we have? Nope, don't hit clear. You always want to hit circle back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't hit clear because you'll clear the whole list. And then we'll have to start over again. So, and there might be really cool stuff in there.
Because I'm scared because I said, why like, it said, I was saying the 3 things it said, and then it just like,
Let me ask another question. Let's get something a little bit more. Like the bar at the barn, inside the barn, those kind of things. Alright, so you kind of get the gist of what that guy does. Alright. So again, it's an interesting device because we don't know what you're saying. You know, because it's not recording you. And when I'm doing my own investigations, like I said, I throw that one in my pocket. And I got another one that doesn't pick up any outside noise because it doesn't use it. But yeah, whatever. Have you heard anything out of it yet?
what color is the ball? Just
And that's what we want, just so you know. Like, if you can make it out, I might be able to relate it to where we are. It's a 50-50 shot at that point. But any little thing, I'm like, oh, what did you hear? Oh, it says 50% off. Well, then that's
What color is the ball? Why is it
ours. It's going.
Again, so where's your friends from?
Just we.
Oh, they're in Seven Fans. I saw them in Florida. Staying here tonight for rooms.
What color is the ball?
So, and it's weird because I don't normally get a whole lot of like one
I know.
ticket
I can imagine.
So, and Trippet, well, my website is set up so you can't do that, but Trippet
Oh,
allows you
really?
to, yeah.
Oh, okay, so I'm ruining the...
No, well, it was, they called me on Wednesdays.
Oh, I see,
And
I
they
see.
were just kind of asking some questions. And I said, okay, well, book whenever you can call me on that pricing or whatever you need to do. And then luckily they booked for tonight. Oh, okay, she doesn't have to be alone. This way you get to see more devices on Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of us carrying 3 devices each trying to, you know, do this.
No, that's fine.
So, how long have you been in the States? You said you're from Norway, right?
Yeah, I've been here 10 years now, so for a while, yeah. Yes.
Oh, you said you're from Norway?
Yeah.
What part?
This guy's been
Oslo.
everywhere.
Oslo. Yeah, my guys used to go to Stavanger every year
Oh,
for about a month.
Do
Yeah.
you work in Oilers?
No, they did a NATO exercise over there
Oh,
at the base.
Alright,
Yeah.
so let me show you how to use that REM pod.
Ours went crazy, like right over
And,
there.
and then just yours
this
was
girl
crazy.
seems
Was
so happy.
7.5.
She's very happy.
I think it was because it was down here.
Yours only goes
So Norway, but are you born in Norway or
Yeah, yeah, I'm Norwegian. Yeah.
you have like no accent at all?
I I'm a
I
spy.
tried to. We
I
thought
think
it was
so, I'm
English,
pretty
and
sure.
When I went up to it, it only went.
And Norwegic's hard language. It's rough.
Oh yeah.
I've been to Iceland too, so
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah.
Iceland's beautiful.
What
Yeah.
color is the boat?
There's two white buttons under here. Okay? The left one operates the little yellow thing. We don't care about that. You want to go all the way to the edge and you click in the right one. So go ahead and click all the way in. Go here, click. There you go. Now pull up your antenna. It's going to beep all over the red. It's fine. Pull it all the way up. There you go. Alright, now you have a series of buttons down here on your right hand side. So the one at the very bottom, that thing goes crazy because you were touching it or whatever. It's the very bottom one will reset the EMF field to balance it back out and stop all the craziness. So if there is something to listen to, reset it and it goes back to it, obviously there's some activity.
So if I put it near Ava,
Or anything that breaks, imagine an imaginary field around the end. Sorry.
Right.
I know, super bright. So there's an imaginary field around the antenna. So when this is a communication device.
oh, I think that's because it's phone.
No. My phone would have to be touched. So, in the event you want to kind of do some communication like you're doing with the spirit boxes, watch that clear button, and then go back to the circle back. There you go.
You told me to choke.
And
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just.
so, you can say if there's somebody here,
What
come
color
close
is
to the
the
little
button?
black box with the metal stick. Whenever when you specifically, they might not know what an antenna is, they might be 1700. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be as specific as possible. And you can do the same thing, of course. Make my lights go up to red. Make this antenna go up to purple. And whatever you want to go up to. So, again, it's a very cool device. I'm still learning about it. I haven't used it on my own private investigation yet. I actually don't believe it. But again, it's interesting. Well, just test it. You can also, like, what I normally do is this thing, I say, hey, there's one of the John Freemasons here, and I'll demonstrate. Get close to this metal stick and make it go off. And I say, the closer you go, watch your eyes. The closer you go, yellow's the next one, then you got blue.
So something like directly touching it.
Yeah, and it's breaking that little field, because you're controlling how big that field is going to be. Right now I have it set pretty low, that way it doesn't go crazy all the time, because we're moving. It's meant to be set up in a room, and you just watch. You put it on a table, and you put a recorder on it, and you set the EMF field out pretty long. So that way it can actually come by it pretty far away and still make a noise so that you know what's going on. Right now, because we're going to be moving and walking around, I have the EMF field small. That way it doesn't go crazy from the motion. So, alright. Everybody's got a good gist on what their devices do now?
Yeah.
Have you heard anything yet?
Mine said choke.
.gov.
You heard .com?
.gov.
Oh, .gov. Alright. So obviously not relevant. So let's go learn some real history now. What do you think?
Yeah.
We're gonna head this way.
I heard a little Norwegic accent when you said that.
Oh, okay. Mine became something aspire.
Yeah.
It has to be questions every 2 seconds.
Timberland? No. Where should we stop? Nice. What's his name?
Nick.
Huh?
Nick?
Hey Nick, am I looking for cold spots?
Yeah, always.
Colder than usual, right?
Yeah. And again, if they're moving on their own. Like, just because something like the metal sign or the metal box is going to be colder than
Yeah,
the
of course, yeah.
But we're looking for
Let you know when
something.
mine goes crazy because yours goes crazy.
Why did I always do that?
It's fine, don't worry about it.
So, you guys are going to find I love parking lots because the places I take you, obviously we get paranormal activity from them, and these are places that once were. So this place used to be home to Charles and Eliza Pinckney. Who the heck were they? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles, a nephew named Charles, and the son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. It's a pretty big deal for Charleston, but I'm not a big person in the politics, and nobody here on vacation wants to talk politics, so we're going to move on to Eliza. She's done way cooler stuff. So this is where your spirit box is really going to come into play. Eliza married Charles at a young age. First off, let me tell you, I'm not going to give you answers like what color is George Washington's white horse, like I did over with the Big Red Barn. So you're going to have to kind of figure these things out based on your spirit boxes and the activity happening around us. She married Charles at a young age because her father over in England thought that he was dying. And he wanted all his kids home, and your EMF's going nuts. I can see the reflection on your face. Because usually when I bring up Eliza, she's all over.
Hers is up.
Is it up too?
It went down a little bit, but now. Oh no, it's up. It's at 2.5.
Okay. So that's probably should be right around your third dot. But anyway, so her dad thought he was dying. He wanted all his kids home. She didn't want to go home, so she got married. Didn't give her citizenship because this would have been in the 1740s, 1750s. So with that being said, Dad did not die, and Eliza was right. So Dad started sending over gifts. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo for her to experiment with. She was a botanist. She loved to play with plants. So she obviously started playing with and experimenting with it exactly where we were. The garden was lined up right here. We used to have land flat that I looked up. But she turned it into a huge cash crop because she had to learn from her slaves how to keep that plant cultivated. The slaves that she had were straight from the Gullah culture.
Turn
They
again.
came straight from Africa. So they knew how to keep this plant cultivated in weird temperatures. So, 0.6, I see. So at any rate, she calls Dad up and says, how do I keep this thing going? I want to make sure I can make a lot of money at this. He starts giving her contacts to sell it overseas. So the term royal blue, even if you think of our Civil War uniforms, which the Union were obviously Navy and Confederates were gray, the gray is just less indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye. So if you think about that, this indigo is used for a lot of things. So I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg so we can have some things to play with Eliza and Charles as far as your spirit boxes and hopefully get some activity out of your guys' boxes. But there's some weird things about Eliza that she loves to answer about, some things she likes to brag about. So first off, you can ask how old she was when she got married. That was easy. You can ask how old she was when she got widowed. So that's a very specific number as well. So let's get that number. It's when her husband died. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. So how old was Eliza when she died? When did she die from? Where is she buried? And which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral? So she likes to brag about that quite a bit. So I've already given you the time period, so I'm sure there's some guesses involved, but I guarantee you we get some other clues wrapped around that to prove it. Let's see. If you're going to ask anything about the children, just maybe ask how many there are. We don't want to dive into the kids too much because there's a tragedy there, and she doesn't like to talk about it a whole lot. So usually all activity stops, your EMFs will go down to nothing, you won't get anything. I'm not going into that. She doesn't want to talk about it.
February.
Do you have something that might be relatable? I'm going to look that up. That's a possibility.
What did it say?
It says February. I want to say it's June.
And my thing's going absolutely nuts.
So, you could also ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. So there's obviously a tragedy with that as well. But that's okay because that was something that happened after her death. So lots of weird questions you guys can ask. Definitely want to, I'll kind of pair up with you.
Move over there a little bit.
Specific and see what questions you want to know. That way we can kind of dive in. We can definitely turn your spirit box off louder here if you want to so you can hear it better. We're not bothering anybody here. What's that? Eliza. So, keep in mind, first off, that's the only entrance and exit in and out of here. So cars like to come in very quickly, so kind of be aware of that. Dad, people get a little weird about cameras on their cars. So if we have somebody come into their car because they're going to leave, you're just holding a cell phone at that point for me. We don't need anybody screaming at us tonight. Nobody has lasers, I don't have to worry about that. That sets off car alarms. It's never fun to run with a group of people. But yeah, let's kind of explore this place. We will spend a good 10 minutes here. If I were to have a grand finale, this would be it. My light's not blinking for that a little bit. Can I see the light that's blinking?
Yes.
It's usually in sync with whatever your EMF is doing. I haven't seen it do it with the new EMF yet, but it's kind of like whatever's here is influencing that very weak light at the same time. And you can usually, if you hold it up and videotape it, you can actually see that it's in sync with the, you'll get a pulse and the pulse will show up there, so forth and so on. And I videotaped it dozens of times to test it. It's usually about 2 frames in between. So it is blinking very weak, so it's almost a barometer of what kind of activity we're going to get. So we'll see what we get out of this place. So let's start exploring, and let's see what you want to know about Eliza, and hopefully we can get some answers. What do you think? You want to work with me?
Sure.
I feel bad because she's by herself. I want you to make friends.
When, Mommy, we should look up when, what's her last name? Eliza's? Eliza.
Can I ask what happened to the miniature?
Yep.
So
Eliza
she's all
what?
said
Eliza. Make my thing go up to
Got smoke?
point.
Well,
I mean, go down, go up. Make my thing.
We'll walk over
Make
here.
my thing go to 0.6, 0.4, 0.4. Please, please.
You have to talk like, Eliza, if you're here,
Eliza, if you're here, make my
make
thing.
this metal.
Please make this metal pole go beep. Give her some space.
No, I'm trying to get. I have to get you in the.
Oh.
Anyway.
Please, Eliza.
Ask her again, Bella.
Eliza, if you are here, can you please
What?
make my little pole thingy
What happened to the
do a
mansion?
little
Show her how to do it.
like this?
Here, this is your sponsor.
Eliza, what happened to the mansion?
What's different with you?
Here, Solomon.
Mommy, can you please I'm really excited to see if February was the right thing. What here?
Solomon, you gotta keep it on a person.
I've been keeping it on a person.
I was right. That tragedy was in June, so it wasn't February.
Okay.
So, she said cake.
No, not a relatable. That name is shown up before as
I just
Catherine.
asked for Eliza who did what happened to the mansion.
Okay, you got smoke already.
Do I say her name?
Yeah, you can direct her like that.
Ashley?
No. You can
What happened to the mansion, Eliza?
a hot spot.
Eliza, what happened to the mansion? Eliza, what happened to the mansion?
Eliza.
Eliza.
Eliza. Where are you?
Wait, Eliza, what happened to the mansion?
Eliza.
Eliza,
Show us the sign, Eliza. Tell us about what president was a pallbearer for you?
what president was responsible?
It's going crazy.
Eliza.
Tell her to touch this like that.
Eliza, touch the pole.
Make the sound.
Touch the pole and make a sound. Eliza, touch the pole and make a sound.
Eliza, please.
Make it go off.
Be nice.
Eliza.
Stop bothering
Well, that's not an angry. Let's scare her off.
Run if I heard that.
Eliza.
Oh, see, she's gone. Daddy, she's gone
You
now.
scared her off.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Daddy,
Dead
look.
person off.
Eliza, what happened to
Freaking
the
scared her away.
Alright, I'm done.
Sorry, Eliza.
You're pointing that to the ground.
Quit being the
Eliza,
camera
what
police.
happened to the mansion?
Jesus.
Well, we need good footage.
Yeah, good footage. I want a ghost hunt her.
Wait, I'm gonna walk around. And I'm gonna get her. Eliza, if you're here, please cut the antenna and make a sound like this.
Cool shit with a stupid ass camera. Come on. Eliza over there. What's going on there? All right.
Eliza, what happened to your husband? Eliza, what happened to your husband?
Grandma, but you come.
Eliza, when did you get married?
Bella's thing keeps going off. Ava, come here. Wait. Come, Ava.
Ava,
Okay, come here.
you can look at that after.
She said sex.
Eva, it's just putting
Okay,
said
Bella, can you go?
entrepreneurial.
Bella, try it again with this. Over there.
Sorry.
Eliza, what happened to your
Can you
husband?
wait a second?
I'm trying to talk to her.
You guys start fighting.
Okay, let Bella try because Bella got activity out of it a second ago.
I have a wall, but I'll make
Try moving over here.
I'm gonna try to move to where there's the most activity. I'm gonna follow her.
Can I see that thing real quick? You ready? Eliza,
Please touch
what
the
president was the pallbearer for you
At your funeral.
at your funeral? Eliza, what president was a pallbearer at your funeral? I like history, I want to know. Eliza, what president was a pallbearer at your funeral? Eliza, what president was a pallbearer at your funeral?
Bella, ask her to touch the metal pole and not use the.
Oh yeah. Eliza, can you please touch the metal pole?
And show her how to make the sound.
Eliza,
Can you please touch the metal pole and make a sound like this?
Eliza, can you please touch the metal pole?
He said,
this.
I just haven't checked with her. But she said sex brings
Once it's
I think she wants us to, she said adjust, she wants us to move.
Okay. But if her garden was right there, shouldn't we be over there?
Where would you like us to move? Liza, can you please touch
Liza.
the middle pole?
Right place. Liza,
Amy, that's the right.
what U.S. president, what United States president was the pallbearer at the funeral? Liza. Liza, we in the right place? So what?
No, yes or no.
Liza.
So Liza, can you please touch the metal pole? Every time I ask her, the thing goes down. Eliza, can you watch? Eliza, can you please touch the metal pole like this? And then the thing just goes down. It's like she doesn't want me to ask that. Right. Okay. Coming.
She said something, like she said, well, I guess her son was in politics.
They were definitely, yeah.
I mean,
The
yeah,
whole
she
family was
She
political.
said sex.
Yeah. I'll take that as 80%. We're going to keep it PG.
Who was an
Pretty
entrepreneur?
much. Yeah, that's me.
Yes. Eliza.
I wouldn't be surprised if my name shows up there too.
Hey, honey.
You're famous with him.
I'm here 6 nights a week. I talk to Eliza every night. They all know.
Is she like handsome?
A lot of times when, like, if I have
Is
I'm
she
holding a
nice?
camera, I'm gonna take you to me. Gotta make sure you guys are
I don't think she likes me very much.
You're not getting much out of there.
Well, it'll go to like 2.4 and then I'll ask.
She said
Like, I'll ask like her to touch.
Here,
I ask her
give
to
me a
touch the
percent.
metal
We're
pole,
done.
and then I'll just go down.
Okay.
Eliza.
Alright. Well, obviously, we
Will
were
you
chatting about
please
rating stuff, so we'll have to see what comes out of the spirit box. Did you guys get anything weird on the thermal imaging camera?
And I just recently took it from, like, there was at one point where that actually went off.
Like, touch something got near it?
Yeah, but
Pretty awesome.
he was messing with her and had the camera down, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's why we record it.
That was my finger.
So I'm going to show you guys a piece of evidence from this
Eliza, can you
location.
please touch the metal pole, please, like this, like that. Please touch it.
Ava, move over here.
Eliza, when did you marry your husband?
Never. She never
say
married
that.
her husband. You want to try mine?
All right.
Never.
She never.
Okay,
What?
I'm pretty sure that was before Ava.
So, let me show you this.
Oh, I'm
sorry.
Okay, just keep asking
Let
her
me
to
show
touch
you.
the metal pole.
Don't push these. Push
I know,
this
I know.
to the back. Don't push anything.
Eliza.
Eliza,
So you're going to see two living people walking past because they're going to be orange and yellow. Okay, so you see the two living people walking past.
so we
the
can
wall.
know that
We're going to go a little bit forward, and you're going to see two dead people going the opposite way. Keep in mind, there'll always be somebody in view right here.
Eliza, can you please touch this metal pole to know?
What?
Yeah. So I've had this analyzed by firemen and mechanics that use that tool on a regular basis, and we've gone through it frame by frame. You can see
Eliza,
two
can you
heads
please touch your metal
together.
pole so we know that?
And if they were living people, they would have been orange or yellow, like the other person, because there would have been a relative thing there. So,
Well, no cold
I
plunge.
want to see it.
right.
Can you touch the metal?
Here, can you hold this? I want to see it. I'll just wait till he's done with
Sure.
it.
People that are going to walk past.
Keep it on.
All right.
Fast forward, and we'll look
Eliza, can you please touch
two
this
dead
metal pole
people
so
going
we
the
know
opposite
that
way.
you're
And you're right about there. So we look at the black spots that move on their own. If they were living people, they would have been the same color as the other living people. that
Let me
were
go away.
So that's basically what you've been looking for all night, are those weird blue and black spots that turn on their own. So I have more evidence, just haven't clicked it out yet.
He's going crazy. Is anyone near me?
All right. So, you guys want answers? You want to spend a few more minutes here?
I want to see that video.
Oh, you didn't
I
see
didn't
it?
get to see. I know at the
I'm
angle
sorry.
I was at, I didn't get to see it.
All right. So, this is the corner up there. dead people going the opposite way. Right about there.
I saw it.
So, like I told him, firemen and mechanics that use it every day, we sat down and analyzed it. We tested, like they were on one of my tours, and I was like, let me show you this video, because you're a fireman, you use this thing. He's like, well, first off, the car, if it was a car going that way, it's too far away.
Right.
And it's not going to be that dark. That's a 25 to 30 degree difference or more, because that's why it was so dark. So again, when I sent him the video, he literally went through it frame by frame with me via emails back and forth, because I wanted the proof. You know, I wanted to be able to tell people, like, hey, I'm catching stuff out here. So, but I have more, I just haven't clipped them out yet.
I got something. I'm not touching it.
Doing good. Try to keep it as still as possible. Eliza, if you're here with us, go ahead and touch this metal stick, just like that. Remember the movie?
Yeah. Tell it. It's 2.1.
Okay, over here. Stop.
Bella, move away from her for a second.
I'm also listening to her spirit box, because that's what I do. I'm always listening and watching what's actually happening.
She was like, she asked them
Did you hear that? Did you hear that though?
No, what did it say?
It sounded like a woman's voice.
It's at. Oh God.
Because I've had disembodied voices here before.
That's what it sounded like. I mean, it didn't sound like a woman's. It sounded like a woman's.
Eliza.
Maybe it was singing from the radio.
Can you touch it again so that we know that you'll heal and that you just touched that?
You're thinking I'm going,
Probably going around everybody checking us all out.
so a disembodied voice, when it's not radio chatter, will go over several radio stations.
She's touching it. She's touching it. It's at 31.1 now. It's 7.7. She touched it
Try
again.
not
So
to move it. Try not to move it. Eliza, get closer to it. Make those lights go to purple or blue. Get closer.
my own feels small.
Can you, Eliza, make that get closer to that black box.
We did. It might have been some people pointing us, but people were banging on there. Eliza, to know that you'll heal, can you please touch that thing, making it go up to purple or blue? What was that? The highest I got is 41. Eliza, can you please touch this metal pole like this and make it go to purple or blue for us so we can know that you're healed?
I didn't see it. Oh, is that from like the first?
Eliza's a
Is
pretty
that
sweet
from-
house.
Oh yeah.
There's not anything to be scared of.
I'm not. I'm just, oh God.
Eliza,
So the
what?
answers that you guys are questioning, they can go anywhere. So they might be showing off the first spirit box, my audio, or the audio from the
Did
camera.
she take baths?
I'm sure
She said
did.
no baths.
No bath?
That's spraying that 80%.
It says no bath?
Yeah.
There probably wouldn't have been plumbing in the house. We're talking about the 1740s.
Right.
There's probably no plumbing.
Eliza, can you
I'll look
please
into it.
touch this metal pole
That's good.
so we can
I
know
don't see that
that
every
you're
day.
healed?
Sorry about the light.
Make it
Yeah.
purple or blue for
Eliza,
us.
how many children did you have? I asked her if we can be friends. She didn't say anything.
Well, that's a yes or no question. That's why.
Oh, but see? Can't ask yes or no.
All right, let's get you guys some answers. I'm excited about what's going on here. I like the no bath thing. That was really cool. So last night, I got the word blue on the universal water by indigo. So that was really cool from last night. And I do get things here every night. This is a big place for me.
Eliza, can you please touch
So-
this metal pole like this so we can go to purple or blue
She's
so we
excited
can
now.
know that you're healed?
So
I like Eliza.
Eliza was 22 when she got married and 36 when she was widowed. So that's when her husband died. She was 36. Eliza died at the age of 70 from
Wow.
breast cancer that we know of, because it's 1793. We don't have cancer yet, so we're going based off the medical records. That was in Philadelphia, and that's where she died, and that's where she is buried. So that tells you why we don't visit cemeteries, because think about if you were dead, are you going to hang out where you're buried? Probably not. So with that being said, the president that was the pallbearer, did anybody ask that question?
I did.
Yes.
So hopefully we get the answer of Washington. Or we get the word wood here a lot. Or apple. Why apple? Because he was in Vermont or Virginia, and he had that apple farm, and apple pie was his favorite that Martha made for him all the time. Why the word wood? Because he had wooden dentures. So we get wood here all the time. Let's see what else. We already got the word smoke, so I'm pretty satisfied with that as well. It did burn down in 1861. And it started off in that corner. That's why we went up there to go hear the spirit box. We were chatting, so we didn't really get a whole lot of answers because we weren't paying attention to it. That's okay. That's right, record. Let's see what else I'm going to have you guys ask. But I like the word political as well. Like, that's
Yeah.
a big one.
Political.
There's
And
a lot of politicians. There's some governors in the Pinckney family. There's some ambassadors. No priest. But yeah, there's a lot of political family members. As far as how many children she had, there were 4 of them. Charles, Thomas, George, and Harriet.
So we can make
only
sure
one
that
daughter.
you'll actually heal right now.
Alright, so we're going to stop with that. So, did she show you how to turn that on? See, push the antenna down. It's going to make noise. Go ahead and push it down. It's fine. Flip it over and lift up that little flap. And there's a
No, the flap on the back.
flap on the back. Like how do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Little scenario. The little one on the right.
Are you trying to turn this off?
Yeah, we're going to shut it off because we're going to walk up about 3 blocks and it'll go crazy. Your EMF, Mom, it's going to go nuts too because of the parking meters. You can pretty much ignore it for now until we get to our location.
Okay.
Our spirit box that you have, I'll be listening for names during this time period that we're walking. I won't tell you what names or why until we actually get there in case you hear anything along the way. As far as filming, by all means keep filming. We want to keep going with the thermal. But yeah, we're going to try to keep up. To get around the steps, we're going to go down this way so that way it's not such a struggle with the stroller. I normally go down the steps.
Oh boy. What we got?
So everybody wants to know what my noisy group is up to. So once we get to the alley, I want you to turn your spirit box down because it is a quiet area. So once we get there, well, I'll go ahead and say let's turn it down. All right, so
I really like meeting Eliza.
yeah, she's pretty cool. Let's head out this way. We're gonna go down in the round.
Okay. Come on, Bella.
We're still going in the right direction. I'm going to skip a lot of jelly just because it's short anyway, and this way we don't have to struggle with the cobblestones. It's very rocky. We don't want to bother. And I've done this in the past. It's not a big deal.
What do you think about the coronavirus, Eliza?
Yeah.
doing that. Did that earlier. I hope nothing came out of your purse.
Been dragging this for a while.
It's like Dr. Palo.
You might want to put this on your shoulder.
You could put it like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't put it on there, I don't think. Or if you just.
That's what keeps.
No, put it towards the back here. I had it in front.
I hope nothing fell out. You got your e-cig? I really do hope nothing fell out. Let's go. God, an old street train.
That's right. I know. He's a good friend. Yeah. Yeah.
parking garage, right?
East Bay Garage.
East
Yep.
Bay Garage.
can't take us down there?
Because I bring noisy people.
Janie, this is it.
What?
This is it. This was the cemetery.
Cool. And I'm about to tell the story of the photograph, so kind of give you the gist. Yeah, we can show here for a few.
Do I turn this on?
No, we're going to keep the REM pod on. And the spirit box down is good, so any other words? Okay, so we did get the word photograph. So the story that they all tell up there by where that group is at, there's a sign right inside the cemetery that says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for that. So in 1888, a young lady died. Her name was Sue Howard Hardy. So Sue Howard Hardy died 6 days after her stillborn child. 1987, we have a local photographer in town, and he's taking pictures, and he captures a full apparition. The apparition is of a woman wearing a shawl and then a baby basket next to her. So, with that being said, the picture is cursed. So, he sent it off to Kodak and tried to debunk the picture. So, we're talking about 1987, so there's no cell phones, there's no technology to be able to debunk this picture, but for guys like me, it's very interesting to see the picture. The females that hold the picture, handle it in any way, shape, or form, start to get the same symptoms I told you about back at Big John's. Females that are pregnant and are holding the picture are not going to have a good pregnancy. I don't show the picture on my tour. If you want to look it up, her name is Sue Howard Hardy. It's a quick Google. Because we have the word photograph, I will put that tweeted warning in your notes to not click the link if you're holding your cell phone. So if you're looking at it on the computer, it's usually safe. As you can imagine, I'm a very superstitious person. So you guys do what you will, but the warnings will be there. But that's kind of the whole story that they're telling up there. It is a cool cemetery, and again, stories in the cemetery doesn't normally go to cemeteries, but we will definitely go up and take a peek after I kind of give you the gist of what's going on in that alley back there. So you guys all see the wall in the distance back there? There's a doorway back there. So the doorway back there is because that place used to be called Jeweler's Alley. So if a dead person was going to come out of a duel, they would come through that gate, over the courtyard, and then over to the cemetery. They would drop the body, and then they would celebrate the winner. Do you have another word?
You said
Alright, so there was a doctor. We all tell the same story of the duel that occurred back there. There was a doctor that moved here from Rhode Island. His name was Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. I always say his word in full because of the spirit box. He moved down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda has a lot of money that she just inherited from her dead parents. And the attorney that was handling that money said, "You're not going to get married yet, send the doctor away. Let's prove that he's not just after your money." So he moves down here. The coachman that brings him into town sets him up to be robbed and killed. It's not a very good start, but somebody walking by seen what's going on, and he stopped the whole situation. He said, "Let me take you somewhere safe." That guy's name was Ralph Isaacs. Obviously, Joseph and Ralph became friends, but the doctor's practice starts to move up. So he's making lots of money, and talking about duels. But he's making more money, and Amanda's going to be moving down soon, so he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. So him and Ralph go to see a play, but the doctor has better seats because he makes more money. That was kind of the hierarchy that we had here. It sucks. But they talked about the play on the way home. The doctor loves the new actress that's in town. Ralph does not. They start arguing. Then it turns that Ralph starts insulting Amanda, his fiancée, back home. Obviously, they get pretty mad at each other and go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He calls his friends at the newspaper, and he puts an ad in the paper about what a disgrace the doctor is to the city. So, with that said, the doctor sees it and he rebuttals with, let's go to Dooller's Alley. Let's settle this once and for all. So they come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn. The doctor puts his gun in the air and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. I just want to make it clear. Ralph still had one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. He didn't want to kill his friend either, but he wanted to make his point. So, they didn't pick him up and carry him to the death gate. His friends picked him up and carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later. So they say as you walk through the alley, you hear a whistle from the doctor. Or gunshots. Now, do I have whistles that I can't explain? I do. I was touring there for about a year and a half before I started going through there. So I have some. But we do have a lot of hecklers in town. They love to give that little whistle as they walk by the alley. So those are pretty prominent. You can make those out. But I've had the word whistle come up on spirit boxes. I've heard whistling, like somebody whistling on the red spirit box. I've had all kinds of things come up wrapped around that doctor. But I've also had the initials RI, which could be relatable to two things. Ralph Isaacs or Rhode Island, where the doctor was from. So again, same initials. You never know where it's coming from until you get another clue. So I've never had another clue to be able to tie to something, but it's happened on more than one occasion. So I used to love going down there because it is the most beautiful spot we have in Charleston, at least in my opinion. It's a great picture spot, day or night. So if you guys want to go down there as a family, by yourself on your own, it is gorgeous down there. So again, feel free to take advantage of that. I just can't take you down there because tourism. Last but not least, before I let you guys check out the cemetery, you guys see the burning gas lamp off in the distance there? So that is the pirate house. So I'm getting your mindset ready to talk about pirates. So the pirate house, you can't miss it. It has a big anchor on the front of it. Somebody lives there. Don't go in his backyard. Don't ask me how I know not to go in his backyard.
No. Wonder why.
Obviously investigated. But that's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships, meet with a few girls, have a place to sleep, and they actually dug a hole, a tunnel, underneath the pirate house going all the way over to Dock Street Theater. And they would go over there and they would work for a few days. Because obviously pirates can tie really good knots. So working at the playhouse would give them a job, a little bit extra cash while they were doing their bartering in between. So with that being said, you guys' mindset is on pirates. But there's also two sides of the cemetery. So I'll explain that here in a second. We're going to look at the first side.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
You're good. How you guys doing?
Oh, wow.
You guys got that
Excuse
crazy
us.
pop.
This
I
is
see it.
embarrassing. Well, you can look at a bunch of DAs as you walk by.
We got booze pops. We have a booze pops truck down here. It's legal to eat alcohol. You can't drink alcohol, but you can eat it. That's our law. Stupid.
Wow.
You can eat alcohol?
That's what they're doing.
On the street. Yeah, you
They're
can't
basically
drink
eating,
it.
Yeah, they're eating a popsicle, basically. So that's the law.
Crazy.
Yep. So I would
Now
tell you,
I get- I was
when I get
confused,
folks
like,
on
how
my,
do you-
my tours that are, I'm like, we're not doing this. Like, no, this is. I take this very seriously, obviously. So I don't put up with that. Like that's not something I put up with. I stop it. Like I take all my gear back. Have a good night. Sorry, you guys ruined it. There's no refunds. Have a nice night. I gotta eat. So we get to go home early. Then. So while they're in our way, two sides of the cemetery. So this side that we're sitting on right now, this is for native Charlestonians only. So the other side is for everybody else. So John Calhoun, our 17th vice president, he's actually on the other side because they couldn't figure out if he was actually from here or not. So they picked up his sarcophagus. You know, a good 15, 20 guys picked up the big metal stone box and moved him several times. Like, he's from here. No, he's not. He's from here. No, he's not. So apparently, after all the, everything was reviewed, he's not from here. So we are going to go across the street because the drunks are in our way, and we can kind of check it out afterwards if you want to. I really don't want to do it. But we're going to go talk about some pirates, and particularly an Irish female pirate. So that's why I'm excited about the word Irish, especially as we're walking up here. So let's go talk about her, and then we're going to do one final full investigation, kind of like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site, and we'll spend 10 to 15 minutes there just based on what I'm already seeing. Like, Irish is very prominent. I don't see that word or hear that word very often, so the fact that we heard it on the way here, I'm excited, and hopefully we get some more answers out of Anne Bonny when we get over there. So let's go talk about the crazy golden era of piracy. How are we going to get you across? Easiest way I think is going to do it.
Ready?
Can you hold it for a little bit?
Yeah. No, she's chewing on her.
Gotcha.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
She's like a little piranha.
Don't eat that.
Oh, my little boy.
How old is she?
She's 9.
She's 9, believe it or not, but
Yeah.
she just
She's
looks really
short,
small.
too. My 20-year-old is this big.
Are you serious?
Yep.
I have a 21-year-old, and she's literally as tall as me, but
Yep.
she's
My
tiny.
15-year-old isn't much bigger than my 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Not much bigger at all. So, all right, now that the noisy trucks are out
Do
of
we
the
have
way,
to use this?
we're going to, but not
Everything-
yet.
Everything. That's why we.
Not
have
yet.
it.
Leave
Not
it.
yet.
Leave it.
Give me 7 minutes, because there's a lot here.
I can't count 7 minutes. I am not
Just
that
Think.
Okay, we'll
7
just be
minutes.
quiet
And
for-
If
All right.
it's
So,
has
this is very interesting for us,
Oh,
particularly
it was my
because
hand.
this is a piece of our oldest history here in America. So the building over there that looks like it has crosses on it, those are actual earthquake bolts. So earthquake bolts, I don't know, kind of like all the tragedies that happen over in your area. Do you guys have earthquakes over there? Okay. All right, so earthquakes, we had that one big scare in 1886, so they started putting earthquake bolts through all of these buildings. What does that mean? Those bolts go through either the roof or through the floors of buildings, and it's on a turnbuckle. So the gist is, if we get another earthquake and it moves the building around, you tighten up the turnbuckle and it straightens the building back up again. So that's the whole gist of those. Those on that particular building are the first pair of earthquake bolts that we put in Charleston. You see them all over town. You guys have seen them and didn't realize it because they have lion heads on them or pineapples or something crazy because they're decorative now. So we don't get earthquakes. This is the East Coast. So, but that building is the powder magazine. That is the oldest government building we have on the East Coast. So it held gunpowder for 7 different wars. What I didn't tell you, because we kind of skipped that little part, was the street that we came up, that's where the original Charlestown Wall was. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown, and it was a walled city. So it's literally 3 blocks away. from
Ava,
the
grab
water.
that.
And it was,
Sorry.
it's okay. So it came up this way, went about half a block up past the powder magazine, and then started going down towards the battery. So they put the gunpowder in the furthest corner away from the water that they could to keep it safe. But in the event that it did get attacked from a ship, cannonball going through, that's a 35-inch thick wall. It's going to have a hard time. But in the event that it does, the roof is filled with sand. So if the gunpowder explodes, the sand goes up and is supposed to fall to put out the fire and save the building. Again, furthest piece away from the wall. But you think that's a smart idea, but it doesn't work. We had another powder magazine very similar to it, closer to the battery, much closer to the water, got attacked, sand fell, did not put out the fire, the building burned to the ground. So this one was just never attacked. So right now it's a museum. It's a pretty cool museum if you're into old war stuff, but and it's not a very big building. But during the time period that this was being built is where our story comes from. This was being built from 1703 to 1713, so that's it was about a decade. In between that, 1708 to 1709, a young Irish woman moves here. She's with her dad and his mistress, who happened to be her mom. So you guys got to kind of follow me on this one because there's a lot of twists. So the mistress, obviously they were moving away from Ireland to get away from the father's wife. You guys follow me on that one?
Yeah.
So the wife was very angry because he found his mistress, who happened to be one of the maids, had a child and hid the child as a young boy as an apprenticeship in his attorney's office. Servant. If you get the name of the mom, I'm gonna be stoked. You have no idea. So, anyway, they run all the way across. I mean, we're talking 1708. This was not a short trip to get away from this scorned wife. Okay, so she was pretty mad. So they come here to Charleston, they settle in. Obviously, this building's going to be very familiar to her because this is the time period that they moved here. She becomes a teenager. Pirates start coming through town. She falls in love with one of them. His name was James Bonny. So Anne and James fall in love. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. What dad's going to approve of that? What does she do? She runs away to Jamaica and gets married. She is now Anne Bonny instead of Anne Cormac is when she came here. When they get down there, she figures out that James Bonny was a privateer, which basically means he was a spy for the British. This was a coward pirate. This is not what she wanted. She wanted the Johnny Depp, kind of Captain Jack Sparrow type mentality. This was not what she got. So what happens from there is she falls in love with another pirate. We're on guy number 2. I'm going to keep tally for you. So this guy's name was John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Calico Jack was an up-and-coming pirate, pretty badass, and he had his own ship. She wanted to be part of it. But females curse pirate ships. There's no way that tour guide was that good. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Story.
Love it. So we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna if you say the mom's name, I'm gonna be super stoked. Again, I can't tell you how excited I'll be.
Keep watching it.
Where was I?
Is it Neon?
Calico Jack.
Yeah.
So females curse pirate ships. He says you have to dress up like a guy in order to be on my crew, but you can be a female in my quarters. She's okay with that because Dad used to dress her up as a boy when she was little. She's already familiar with this whole process. So she becomes part of the crew. She's allowed to be female in his quarters, which means she eventually gets pregnant. So what happens from there? Can't have a guy showing pregnancy as part of the crew, so he drops her off in Cuba. Says, go have the baby, come back to the ship, we'll figure it out. She has the baby, she comes back with no baby. We don't know what happened to the baby. So big holes there. But she's dressed like a female. She no longer cares about hiding her gender. This makes Jack very angry, which means she's going to go down below deck of the crew of the pirate ship, and he acquired another pirate crew that he captured while she was away with her pregnancy. She starts flirting with the guys down there. One of the guys that she's really getting close with reveals her gender as a female, dressed like a man to be part of the pirate crew that Captain Calico Jack captured. Did you guys catch me on that one? Mm-hmm. That's a long one. So this is guy number 3, even though it was a female. So her name was Mary Read. Now, Mary Read was an English pirate. She came from England. She had a very similar history as Anne Bonny, so they become friends. She convinces Mary Read to become part of the crew. They're going to dress like females. They don't care. They're all good. They're going to be badass. So the British fleet moves in. The entire pirate crew is down below deck, covering the captured pirates that they acquired, and it's Anne Bonny and Mary Read literally trying to fight off the entire British fleet. How do you think that went down? Obviously, they get taken. So they dress up like guys again, so they can reveal their gender in front of the judge, and all the pirates that were down below deck get tried and hung pretty quickly. A week later, they try Anne Bonny and Mary Read because they were the only two that fought back. The Chief Justice, his name was Nicholas Laws, so if my name shows up here, we won't be surprised. He says, we're going to try and hang you for piracy, but why did you fight back? So then they reveal their gender, that they're female. He says, I don't care that you're female, I'm still going to try and hang you. Then they plead their bellies, which both means that they are saying that they're both pregnant. So he says, we'll just delay your hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston. So what does he do? He bails her out and brings her back to Charleston. Gets a little hairy from here. Some of it says that she moved to Virginia, remarried, had 4 kids, and died at the age of 84. Some people say she stayed here and just kind of left the whole pirate life behind. What happened to Mary Read? She died in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. So use your imagination. I'm sure it was pretty nasty however she went. But that was within a year that she was captured. This place holds a lot of stuff. So we're going to see what happens with the REM pod. We're going to turn that guy on. We're going to see what comes out of the thermal imaging camera. Have you seen any glitches? Because I know you've been kind of watching me and it.
Yeah, I can't tell if it... I haven't watched it long enough to see if it's
What do I
like actually something or if it's just...
So
What do I touch
I'm really
to
excited
turn
about
it
some of
off?
the terms that she's hearing, so I'm hoping we're going to capture stuff on yours
What else
as
did
well.
you get on there?
So we're going to get
Ears.
closer to the
Ears.
building.
How do
We're
I
not going to
turn it
interrupt other tours. If another tour likes to come in, because they're going to tell another ship story of some sort. They spend a lot of time here. Then we'll go check out the front of the building, get some film from up there, and then we'll kind of call this a night and see what we actually captured. And then I'll tell you the details of how this rolls from here. But let's get that REM pod going. Let's get that spirit box listening up to. Just keep in mind that building, the brick one, that is apartment buildings. So we don't want to be too loud. And we're going to get closer to the front of that building anyway. So let's head over that way. You got that REM pod going?
You got it on?
Yeah, Bella told me to not.
Yeah, you can do
No,
it now.
I wanted to wait till he was done talking.
Hmm?
Use that thing a little bit.
Don't do that, Ava.
Here.
Scatter.
No, I want to use that for
This?
I thought I heard like when we were walking, like what somebody thought of the pandemic, basically. And I was like, oh, that's actually
I was asking how people are
got it.
Same.
You tested it?
Resolve.
It's on.
She's got this. She's like, it's on. Check me out. She's got
It
this.
also said scatter, but that just seems like
I think you need to
random.
come on one of my investigations. Private one. It's one month.
Hey Siri.
Did you know that going 9/11,
So I can't be like, hey,
the dogs were so
interest.
sad
It's interesting
that
talking to me. Thank you, because Eliza was not.
Or they have to like build to that.
What is your
So
name?
you said you were in a building where there was dead bodies. Was that in Savannah?
No, no, I'm saying.
Say like if anyone is here,
No,
or if anyone is here, please state your name. Or
if anyone is here, they had to build, because they were guards with the dogs, obviously, police dogs, and they had to bury themselves
You know
underneath
anybody
the
with
level
the name
so the
Wine?
dogs could be happy and find them. Or it was the dead bodies, or it was the people. You get what I'm saying?
hey,
Is there anybody with the name Wine?
is there anyone with a name that would relate to wine?
We are talking about pirates.
I asked
Rum
if there
and
was
wine would have been a major commodity for them because they can't drink the water. That's why they drank so much.
It was blinking red.
It went all the way to red?
Yes.
And you sure you weren't touching it?
I was
Yeah,
like,
you had to have been like maybe too close to it or something.
Get your finger away from it.
I think she's testing to see how.
Oh.
like here.
So let me see the other words that are on there. Maybe I can make sense of some other things. But yeah, wine makes sense here too. Wind is back there with the okay.
This is.
Light servant. Again,
Yeah, that it was the same time
maybe
that you were talking.
maybe you can ask what Aunt Bonnie's mother's name was, and maybe you'll get that answer. That would be
Who
super
was
cool.
Aunt Bonnie's mother?
So,
And Bonnie.
Who was Anne Bonnie's mother?
so this is not usually a place where that goes off, but when it does, something usually else happens with another device.
Describe yourself. If anybody is here, please describe yourself.
It's a reading, I think, like, so what's beyond variance?
I would say 0.4.
Oh, we were at consistently one for a little bit.
So that's still only about 3 dots on the one you were holding.
What happens if it gets to like all the way
What is that?
Look at other things.
What's that building right there?
This is
Oh,
the
you know,
power
it was going crazy over there. Like this thing, it said like 3 words while we were walking over there. This thing's turned red. If anybody is here, please describe.
Most people think they're crosses. They're not.
Do you know what you're doing with that? You got to ask them to touch it.
Tell the story back there, and you guys can see it in front of you.
Okay.
Whoever it is that you're talking to.
Mommy, I asked them to describe themselves. They said vegetable.
What?
Vegetable.
Am I talking to her? Am I talking to her?
Are you a vegetable?
Who do I say? Do I
Oh, sorry. Can you please use one word to describe yourself besides vegetable, please?
It's a friend that she was flirting with.
Oh, okay.
Can you please give me a name? Any name?
They're not in the box.
Mary, can
Where
you
are they at?
please touch this
Oh,
metal?
I can't. No, I
Well,
can't
why are
say.
you talking into the...
I don't know. That's what I've been doing. Name. I said name.
Did it say name?
Yeah.
Keep going. You're getting close.
It said that because it wants me to speak into the box.
Mary,
Can you please say your name?
Solomon,
Teacher.
your dad's
Teacher.
going
Teacher.
around with it like this.
Was there a
like,
teacher anywhere?
to make it go
I don't
red,
know.
purple, or blue. Just so we can know that you'll heal right now. You like when Mary, can you please touch this metal pole like this? Make it go to purple, red, or blue. So we can know that you'll heal right now. I'll keep it still for you. Touch it just like this. Or you can actually touch it.
See anything, Shani?
As a person? Or what you were?
I guess she doesn't want to.
It wasn't the right color, but I saw like some kind of thing just go up her. But it was a warm color. It wasn't a cold color.
I did get warm and cold at the same
No, Ava, not like that.
but I did.
I guess it would depend on the rest of whatever was inside the screen.
Okay.
Like, obviously, if
Do
she
I
was turned and you couldn't see her skin tone, it could, like, I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, just remember like this.
Right.
You'll see what I'm
It
talking
happens
about.
every night.
I mean,
Gotta look at certain
Just
spots.
turns
the
into
best thing for me to describe it to would be like a large orb that just went up her body.
Okay.
That's like a round looking.
So when I said I get glitches here, what happened was I had a small group. It was just, I think, 2 people or 3 people, and the person filming had me and the person with the spirit box in the camera. There was a white film that came over the person with the spirit box, and then it quit working. We walked away about 10 feet, and it turned right back on again. Like, on its own, already on record. And it takes 3 buttons to get it to record. So, you guys see me fiddling with it before I handed it off. So, it takes 3 buttons to be able to do that. So, I was
And-
baffled.
Can
Yeah.
you please touch this metal pole like this or this so we can know that you're here right now with us?
You guys know what's going on at the Christmas tree this year.
Grass.
I'll keep it still for you.
Come on, man.
Touch it for us.
Yeah, should move to her.
Who was a failure?
They get captured.
Is this where we pull? They
Who
don't
are
like
you?
Who are you? They don't like this.
Who are you? Oh, it's really
I want to see if one more word pops up out of yours, and then we're going to go ahead and call it, and I'll get you guys kind of directions on where to get back to.
And can you please touch this metal pole so we can know that you're here right now?
Is there somebody else to call other
Like
than
this.
Ann or
Make
Mary?
it go to any
Mary?
color that
Try
you want.
Mary.
Purple.
Ava,
Red.
try Mary.
I did. Mary, can you please touch this metal pole so we can know that you're here right now?
Just so you guys know, at the top of where your data page is, all the apps and the tools that I use are listed at the top, because everybody asked me. What's it say?
Surprise.
Surprise.
We're not going back over to the cemetery at all? Or?
We can, if you guys want to go check it out, and I can collect over there. That's fine.
You want to?
He's like, he wants to check out the photos again.
Mary, can you please
That's
touch
where I
this
saw that
metal
Confederate
pole
soldier.
like this?
Yeah.
So we can know that you're here. You can make it go blue, purple, or red. We don't
She's
care.
giving specifics now.
We just want to know if you're here right now with us. Mary.
All right, let's go check out the cemetery. Dad wants to check it out so you can get some pictures.
All right, Bella.
Mary, can you touch this metal pole before we leave, please?
Ava, it's not. Stop.
All right, come on.
The metal pole.
Okay, bye, Mary. And I won't forget about you.
I won't forget about.
Oh, I need someone to walk in front of me so I can get this to
Do I
focus
turn
better.
this off? How?
Little button on the back, and one on the right.
Rim?
Right.
Right. Show her how to do it, Bella.
It's just a cigarette. Without all fun.
Haven't we been here before?
Remember.
Yeah. Somebody lives in that? Are you kidding me? There's a huge door. How do you even get that open?
But there's a lot of odd ghost stories here because of the legends and lore. But the reason why they have that sign there is because of that apparition I told you all about. And that light that's off to the distance on the left. And so guys like me aren't here taking pictures trying to find it. They want to disrupt that kind of thing. It's just weird because every ghost tour stops here. So again, the church is also off by the earthquake. It's not perfectly 90 degrees up. It's a little bit off. I don't know which direction. But that's a great shot too because the moon is right behind it. So if you're any kind of photographer, like that's a great shot.
Oh my god, I would say it's tilted this way.
But yeah, this is beautiful cemetery. I've been through this side. They're renovating it now. But it's gorgeous. And the Unitarian Church, if you're into cemeteries, that actually has a story tied to Edgar Allan Poe. Did you guys know anything about Poe? And
Yeah, I remember that story.
The Annabelle Lee story?
Yep. They told it when we were on the good. Matter of fact, you just jogged my memory. I remember that now.
Yep. That's why I was asking why what cemetery you went by. Because that one in particular.
We went, well, I don't think we really. I think you mentioned it from over there briefly about the cemetery, but I think we ended up going to that one. What's that?
We just mentioned Edgar Allan Poe.
Writing. Yeah.
But I have another friend that, he's a private company too, like me, and every time he takes somebody up there, somebody gets a little thing, like by that Unitarian Church on his tours. Because he tells, I don't know which story he's telling, because there's several wrapped around that cemetery. But I usually, like if I have time, I go into the Edgar Allan Poe Annabelle Lee story. So apparently, do you know the story here? Do you know of the poem?
Yes.
Okay, so apparently that happened here in Charleston. Edgar Allan Poe was stationed here under Edgar Perry in the Army on Sullivan's Island, which is a little bit north of here. So he fell in love with somebody, the Army sent him away, he comes back. Dad didn't like Edgar for whatever reason. So when Annabelle Lee died from whatever disease that she had, he buried 2 headstones so that Edgar couldn't find her. So again, I've been through that cemetery. A lot of those headstones are unmarked because they're so old. But it's a overgrown, like garden-esque type cemetery. Like it's gorgeous. My wife took a ton of photography pictures up there because she took her SLR with us while we were there, because I told her about the story. I'm like, let's get some headstones so we can do the negatives, see if we can make out some of those words on the headstones, but couldn't come up with anything. So really cool story. But I actually had a friend of mine tell me another story. I can't remember how it goes. It's so long. Something about you can't smoke near there because a woman's husband died of smoking. She forbids it to be smoking around that cemetery. It's crazy. So there's all kinds of weird things that happen in that cemetery.
I remember you saying something about you can't search that photo up on your phone or something.
Yeah, that was from the story here because of that sign that's right behind you. So, the picture is cursed. So,
So what will it do to your phone?
don't do anything to your phone. It'll probably make you sick.
Is that the photo?
But you're fine if you search it up on a computer.
I would say as long as you are not touching it, like on your phone, like if you're looking at it on a computer, probably be okay. When it says handling it, it means probably something on your phone or
Is that the
actually
photo on the thing like them?
No, it's not.
No,
What is it?
people took a picture over here, but it wasn't a woman. It was a Confederate soldier.
Confederate
Half of
soldier.
one, sorry.
So,
I'm not so sure.
but yeah, I'll definitely give that link. But just kind of give that, the warning would be there. So
What's the name of this one? I'm not gonna look at the photo. I'm gonna see if anybody posted that one of the Confederate
this is
soldiers.
St. Philip's.
Yeah, you could probably just type in St. Philip's Confederate soldier.
Please.
St.
What do you
Philip's
mean, like
Confederate.
typing it?
Campus. Oh, bolt.
Alright, I'm gonna start collecting devices while Dad's doing that.
Okay, dokie.
Keep some of those things.
So this was the
running.
last thing?
This was it.
Yep.
Like we dive into Ann Bonnie.
I'm
She was
excited
a
to
big
see what we
hurrah.
have tomorrow.
All right, so let me take this one from you. Thank you, dear. You recorded all night. It didn't quit on us. Nice. Yeah. Hey, trust me, you would have known.
Okay.
It would have like no lights at all. I'll take your REM pod.
There you go.
So I'll take that.
You want me to hit the
Yeah, hit the square for me.